As I start this reading out, I want to first cleanse the energy and ask that the person on the other side also find themselves in as much of a relaxed and receiving state as they can for their highest good. The energies that I connect with will be only ones that are here for your highest good, highest timeline, to help keep you in line with your divine soul path with nothing nefarious attached. I'll be communicating just with your guides through my guides. So our energy won't actually touch. That's generally how I do all of my readings, unless I'm one-on-one with someone and I've gotten their consent to connect energy. That keeps us all safe. It keeps us with good ethical boundaries, which is important in spiritual practice. That's what the difference becomes between what is benevolent and what can be trickster or deceiving in some kind. It keeps us in touch with true and good messages instead of ones that maybe are what we want to hear, but maybe not what we need to hear. So these first cards that I'm going to flip over are going to tell me a little bit about what I'm going to be reading. We're going to flip this one this way, again this way, and also this way. Okay, so towards the heart. What I have here is the Four of Wands upright, the Ace of Swords upright, and the Lovers in reverse. So without any other indicators at this time, the way that I could read this off of the information given right here as I'm getting connection in is there is some type of joyful thing, some perhaps like desire or something that you're like very hopeful for to come together, to sort of come to fruition, something that's worth celebrating. And you're needing some clarity on it because there is this like cloudiness or unclearness, and it's something that really matters to you. So this could be something to do with a really important friendship, partnership, or something deep within. But there is something, whatever it is that you're feeling right now, that resonates for, that is where your guides are pointing. Let me see if I can get more. So I heard counting numbers. What does that mean? Counting numbers. So it could be something calculated that you've been hoping for quite some time that's been turbulent. Counting numbers. 1, 6, 7, 17, and 6. I have the Star card coming out here in upright and the Six of Swords coming out as well. The Star card being one of like faith. So something that you've been really holding on to, like having faith in. So it's been something pretty uncertain and turbulent. But something before I even started this, yesterday, I heard for this reading that you might, I'm getting chills, that you might be going down a path where things all around you are telling you or are bombarding you with like, you're not on the right path, you're not doing it the right way, or you should give up. And maybe this is mental chatter, maybe these are doubts that are coming in. It could actually be like videos that are being fed to you, or songs that are resonating that are telling you to like give up on something, or that something is like that you should lose hope or say goodbye to something. And you're very intuitive. And so the things that you hear and you see, you notice them, you mark them. Maybe that's like the counting numbers. Maybe there's like angel numbers that you're seeing also. But nonetheless, like it feels very like calculated and precise each step that you're taking. But there's these energies, or this energy that is, it almost feels like a storm. And what I heard yesterday is like, you need to block that out. You're taking the right steps. You're doing the right things. Everything that you're doing right now is leading you to where you do need to be. You're not making wrong moves. It might not always feel like everything is going exactly like to plan, but think of all of the steps that you've had to take over the last few years to get you where you are. And are there things that you feel, and be honest with yourself, because there could be something in there too, like this isn't just agree with the lady that's on the screen. But are there things that you look at, even if they were hard, and you go, you know what? I gained this from this, and this from this, and this from this. And it doesn't mean you couldn't have gone a different way and gotten a similar lesson. You could have, like, some of these things, yeah, we go through them, and God makes all things good, or spirit, you, however that resonates for you. For me, it's God. God makes all things good. Everything I go through, it turns out for the better. Even some of the hardest things, where in my head I'm going, even that. And it's like, if I sat there and I did really think about it, I would go, okay, but I did get this out of it, and I did become stronger here, and I did learn my boundaries here, and I did learn how to like say no here, or say yes to these things, or figure out what it is that I really wanted through all of that. And so even though you've been through like this turbulent area, which is that Six of Swords that goes into calmer waters. So that's where I'm getting like, no, you're on the right path, because there is something for you to celebrate. You do need some clarity on it. It is something very close to you that doesn't seem like it's going the way that you had hoped that it would go. But you've been trusting this process this whole time. And part of this message coming through for you right now is you are sliding into calmer waters. When I look at my own journey, and I've heard that so many times, like, you're coming into calmer waters and things are evening out. And when I look back, I go, you know what? I actually have. For me, it hasn't turned out exactly as I probably ever could have imagined it to. Things didn't fall into place the way that I would have picked off of the tree, but they just kind of fell. They fell from the tree and my hands were open. So keep your hands open, keep your heart open, but rightfully protected from things that it needs to be protected from. But keep walking forward on whatever it is that you thought of that you needed clarity on. Keep moving forward. Can I get a little bit more clarity, please? So I don't love doing like love ones, but when I see the 10 of Cups come out, and we have the Lovers in reverse, and we have the 4 of Wands, if this is something that, like, in a matter of the heart, there are like good indicators that say stay the course here, because I have the 10 of Cups coming out, and then the 7 of Cups in reverse, which is giving this energy of, you don't need to be like wandering off, putting your hands in other pots. If it wasn't a love thing for you, because this could just be my bias of how I see these cards, like, come together. I'm hearing it's not your bias, but there's just different ways that you can read these things, and that's also important to remember, that these messages can be taken in multiple ways and can be used again when you're feeling like you're not stepping in the right direction. But this one is saying, like, you don't need, I'm also hearing, yeah, multiple ways. Okay, I see why you guys said that. Read this in multiple ways. Paige, read this in multiple ways. Okay, so you don't need to veer out and put your hands into a whole bunch of other things. You are walking the right way, and you don't need to be trying to seek out these external validators to help you. Even this reading, okay? I'm gonna be bold and say you didn't even need this reading. It's okay that you got it. It's okay to be human. But you didn't need it, because you are already walking and listening and feeling. And it's also okay for you to feel a little level of like uncertainty or a little unstable in your walk, in your path. That's part of the human process. And you know this. Before I speak, I want them to bring out something more. I'm hearing, but like, when someone pays for cards, I really should just have an option that's like no cards, or just like not relying on the cards. At my left ear, my message ear is ringing for that. So the thing that I was hearing, and I've got this card balancing on my foot right now, the thing that I was hearing that it's now supported by the card that just came out is that there is a part of you that really needs nurturing, and it's been there for a long time, and it's something that, you know, because I know you in some way, you know, we've had interactions for a long time, off and on. Something that has always kind of been there is this hesitancy to trust yourself, to trust the messages that are coming in. But like, you've done so much work, you know so many things on how to be safe with energy, how to protect your energy, how to trust what you're hearing, and how to question appropriately where those messages are coming from. And you have so much training and education in how our minds work, right? Left ear ringing, that's important. Or right ear ringing. I have to know my left from my right. Right ear ringing on this one, which is my like, pay attention. Like, you know this stuff. You've gone through a massive transformation, and that's where this 13, this death card, this death and rebirth, this massive, like, this like metamorphosis, like this shift. There needs to be an additional shift. There's nothing wrong with you, first off, but an additional shift in the way that you trust yourself and in the way that you view yourself as a highly competent, highly connected, highly capable spiritual being, to know your way, to know your path. And I think that's why you felt drawn to get a reading, is because your soul needs to hear this from someone that you know on a certain level, and like, know their integrity, know my integrity, know my spirit, know my soul, and know that like, self-empowerment is big, you know, on this journey. It really is. I just heard there's nothing to fear, my dear. You are so protected. And it just feels like if you've got a foot up and it's hesitating on where you're going to place it next, just put that foot, oh, I got chills. Put that foot down. Walk that direction. And then like this energy of like from the heart, flipping from the heart. Where else? Let me get some intuitive only cards where I want to just look at the pictures on them. So for these cards, Spirit, we're going to look at the pictures. We're going to take important things that you want me to deliver off of the images alone. We're going to ignore, please help me ignore what I know about the card itself. And let's go just directly off of the images, please. So I'll need some assistance in sort of wiping my brain of that. And I may have to speak out loud, anything that I need to clear off of my knowledge of it. So I'm not even gonna look, I mean, I know what this card is, but I'm not gonna even like have my mind trigger to look at it. I'm gonna cover it up. So when I see this, I see somebody on this path. I see a woman specifically on this path in the water. She's in the water, so she's in her intuition. She's in her flow. She's standing though on solid ground. She's not just letting the river take her. She's choosing the steps that she's taking, and she's following the cups, the gifts, the things that she's meant for. And she's walking towards, it looks like the moon. Yeah, it's the moon. So she's walking towards the moon, which the moon is a symbol of uncertainty or the unknown in a way. It's, you know, in the dark of night. So there may be something that feels very uncertain, which supports the cards from earlier. And you're walking towards it, but you're walking with surety. You're not just letting fate take you. You are choosing destiny. You are paying attention to where you're meant to go. And you walk slow and steady. She's not running. See how she's got her, she's kind of lifting up her dress here in a way. It's still getting wet, but you know, she's daintily walking. So she's walking with intention and she's walking with focus. Her head is not tilted down to the ground. See, her head is straight ahead. And yeah, there's some branches that might be in the way, but she can see those too. It may be a little foggy up there. You can see a little bit of fog. But overall, this woman is walking with a posture of, I can and I am. And walking slow is important in this, being sure of each step so you don't slip on rocks or things like that, right? Have you ever walked through a river where you have to be careful where you step? So just thinking about each step. I know when I have walked through rivers many times, it's putting your foot down, checking the ground, and then placing your weight, right? Like slowly testing it. And then making sure that you have good footing, and then moving the next foot. And so making sure that when you are walking through these next steps of your life, that you are doing it with that level of intention, checking the ground. So grounding being important as well. You know what's so interesting? I had someone with your, a lady with your name from the Bible come up. I want to say it was in church last week, actually, or maybe it was the week before. But it was about the time, like sometime in when you had ordered it already and I hadn't seen it, which I think is so interesting. So Spirit is, how does this relate to you? I mean, besides the obvious, how does it relate to you? Because like Spirit's trying to be like, hey, you need to go check stuff page. But there may be messages like that coming in that you're not like quite picking up, and that's okay, because the way that you had grace for me is a mirror and an example of how grace and even more grace is given by Spirit, by God, by the guides that we have. They don't have to deal with human emotions and certain thoughts and things like that come through our minds sometimes. Like, you know, when I realize, oh, there's something there, whoops, you know, the thoughts that come through my head can be really like negative towards myself, and I have to like let those go before I even come and sit down, because I'm a human. And you know, when I miss something, I'm like, ugh, I don't like it when I miss something. So just, if you are missing some things that Spirit is throwing your way, it's okay. Like, you're still gonna make it where you need to go. All of that is planned for. I know that you've probably heard me say before, like, free will can be negative choice of free will, which is often what we're talking about when we're like, oh, well, that was a free will choice, right? But then there's the positive side of free will, and like we might see comments or say something like, oh, I haven't been using my free will the way that I could be, you know. And that's like kind of the positive free will, like, oh, I could be doing something even better. And so when we're going like just straight down this path like this, and we're doing it with intention, we're still hitting the mark, right? There's more that we could do. We could be paying more close attention to the signs and synchronicities that are coming in and asking more questions about it, sure. But also every moment that we spend asking those questions, we can put that too far into a direction that makes it so that we're then not really like living life, and we're living too spiritually. So give yourself some grace if you like think back and you're like, oh my gosh, there was this sign and there was that sign, or oh, how did I not see that? It's okay. Spirit's going to send you something else. Spirit's going to give you another sign. Like, I personally, I'd been ignoring these particular energies that have been tapping for literally weeks at this point. And they finally sent me an actual human that mentioned their name and just got a tattoo with another one of their names on it. And I was like, well, all right. Like, you know, I guess I don't need to sign your sign. Thank you very much. Got it now. But you will get stronger and stronger signs unless you start like just denying them and telling them to stop. What else do you have for this individual, please? I just feel really good energy about you and where you're headed, but like there's just feels like hesitancy here. Like there's like this hesitancy, this unsureness, and like be sure in your steps, because you're so beautiful and you know where you're going. So I've got this card that I'll show it to you so you can see it. So we have this person that's standing deep in the water and examining. So when you start getting deep in the water, okay, so this makes sense now. Thank you. So as you're walking along and you're sure in your step and it's shallow and you're like, yeah, I got this. If you get into deeper water, you know, when you're like, there's that saying of like, I'm up Schitt's Creek, or I'm drowning, or I'm in too deep, or something like that. So if you find yourself in deeper water, pause and examine. Pause and examine, and look at what you have. Look at where you are. Look at what you have with you. This one has like bounty with them. You know, they're able to stop, and they're looks like they might be even fishing, because there's fish jumping up all around here. And they're examining their abundance, like what they have. Gratitude is coming to mind, right? So like stop, refocus. That might be almost like the grounding, although this is deep in the water. It's kind of hard to ground when you're deep in the water, but just that's a way that you can ground, is moving to gratitude and nurturing yourself with food, with drink, with a little bit of rest. He's not walking right now. And there's beautiful scenery around him, even though he's in the deep water. So looking around at the beauty that is around you. Let's do one final one here, and then let's go to the, I keep looking at this stack of oracle cards. Okay, so here we have someone that has been, okay, got it. So it's like, as you find yourself in these places. All right, so we have this step with surety, right? We have this when you're in deep, but still able to stand. We're examining for gratitude. We're, looking at our abundance. We're nourishing ourselves. We're taking a little rest. We're looking at the beauty around us, okay? But when we are here, when we are battered and bruised and out in the cold and not able to walk, when the ground is frozen, okay? When we've been hurt, when we feel tied up, tied down, trapped, that's where we need to start asking for deeper levels of help. And the word prayer, maybe it's meditation for you, but the word prayer is coming in, which you can do at any of the stops, right? But making sure that we remember that, I'll speak for like my own experience with the one that I consider to be the one infinite creator, God. The God that I believe to be God, the energy that I believe to be source, shines the sun on everyone. And when we are down, when we are hurt the most, no matter who you are, Source, Spirit, God is a merciful one. Like I'm hearing like cry uncle, like have you ever had to just be like, I can't take anymore? Like when you get to that point, like just admit it. Admit it when you can't do it anymore on your own, So, and like the cliche word surrender comes up, and that does have space, but I don't want to give you just like a cliche thing of like surrender. It's one of those moments where it's like, know when you can't walk anymore. And then, as I had said, the sun shines on everyone, like this card with the sun shining out in the distance and all these people here. Spirit likes to help. And many of the stories of ancient religions and just ancient tales in general, like it doesn't even have to be like the Bible or anything like that, like, or the Quran. It's like the universe loves an underdog, likes a good rise up, a good transformation, a good metamorphosis. I'm gonna do this one and that stack. What is some guidance for this individual? What are some things that they probably could really use to hear? I'm also feeling called to runes. I feel a little lightheaded all of a sudden too. Best message for this person, please. And if there's somebody else watching this, please just take what resonates. I post these for more than just the person that purchased it, because it feels correct. I believe that we all have the agency to know what's for us and what's not. And the people that I speak to are people that they know how to hear enough to go, yeah, there's something here for me to take away. And it could just be one little piece of it, or you could be in a complete collective with this individual that you guys are going through real similar stuff. And I know that this particular person who purchased this is a beautiful light worker that shines their light on so many people. And oh, right ear ringing. That's, pay attention, that's important. Shines their light on so many people, and would be delighted to know that this message could help somebody else in some way. Okay, we have union. Myself and soul are one. And there's so many solar flares that have been going off too. So if you've seen me kind of like look up in this area, I just keep getting like, there's a M class 2.31 solar flare popping down. We had an X class flare not that long ago. I think it was a couple days ago. I don't feel called to read this yet. We're gonna get there. I feel called to grab this big old deck of a mixture of them. Oh, this one just fell over. It says Kali Ma, facing fear. Major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar. Whew, that feels good. That feels good. Yes, we're done with that one though. They're like, yes, that. Facing fears. Major spiritual, that 13, that death and rebirth, major transformations. And like, you already have been through so many. Like, you are on this like snowball effect of one transformation after another. You just keep completing things and moving yourself forward. Anandamaya, this is cool. Okay, this is cool. Wasn't there a card about joy? What am I thinking of? Anyway, Anandamaya is actually an incarnation of Kali. So it's really cool to see these ones both come out here. The joy permeated mother. I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. I have full chills in my arms right now. Like I had said, or spirit had told me to say to you, you know the way. You don't need this reading. It's okay that you got it. It's okay if one day you need to like listen to it again to boost yourself up, to remind yourself that you already know. Okay, you already know. Like I don't know why I feel like I have like tears that want to come to my eyes, because you are so in tune. You're so powerful. Myself and soul are one. You are already like so connected to S with a capital, like self with a capital S. I want to open up for the Anandamaya one because I want to read that one. I don't want to. I feel guided to. And I hear one more in here. I don't know if this guy matters to you or not, but it's kind of white Jesus though, but whatever. This one isn't white Jesus. Very, very much not white Jesus. But forgiveness. You are on the path of light, love, and forgiveness. And it says, Father, healing is possible at this time. And this is bringing me back to that card. I know this is very like patriarchy type of God symbology, but I call it God the Father, even though I don't really think of God as having a gender. Ultimately, it's just how I was raised. And so there's just something inside of me that feels comfy and cozy. But Father healing at this time, like the one infinite creator source healing, spiritual healing is available to you at this time. Remember, like when you're feeling like this, that healing is always available. And I know that for me, I've been in major pain on my bed before, and I have reached out to a specific angel and asked them to lift the pain. And instantly it was gone. And then I heard, what did you learn from that? And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, I took the pain away, but what did you learn? And I'm like, well, nothing. They're like, exactly, we can take it away, but there may be a lesson that you're missing because we took it away. So take that for what it's worth. I then asked for them to just bring it back, and what do you know, it just came right back. It's crazy how that kind of stuff works. But Master Jesus coming out here, that may be like some type of indicator for you that you needed to see. Maybe you were looking at that picture and like going, what's that? Or maybe you knew what that was. Maybe your eyes were drawn back there. And there's so many things that could be as to why Spirit's having me point these things out and say these things. Gotta figure out where this energy is in here. Where's the... I feel like I'm like missing the page that they're on. Yeah, I was. Page 68. So this one says, Anandamaya Ma represents the essence of the expansive joy that comes when we remember our true self. Nirmala Sundari, which means beautiful one, in Bengali, was born in the late 19th century in what is now Bangladesh. I feel like my kids were singing a song about Bangladesh. Hold on, I want to ask. Yeah, they were singing a song about Bangladesh. That's crazy. Over and over again. I just yelled back there. I was like, were you singing a song about Bangladesh? Yeah, it's got to be like a social media thing. Some song. Something about like taking them to Bangladesh. It was so weird because it's the first time that they've like sang it in the house. So it's a cool synchronicity to me because I've never heard my kids say the word Bangladesh before. And then here it is on this card. So thanks, Spirit. I really like that. So she was born in the late 19th century in what is now Bangladesh. Her family questioned her mental stability because from an early age, she was always found in bhavas, or ecstatic states of bliss. At 13, she was married to a man she would later name Bolanath, and he supported her life as a mystic and saint. At 26, Nirmala enacted her own spiritual initiation. The ceremony and rites were spontaneously revealed to her from within. She explained, as the master, I revealed the mantra. As the disciple, I accepted it and started to recite it. In the 1920s, she set up a Kali temple and devoted her life to spiritual practices. She began to be recognized as the living embodiment of the divine feminine and as the incarnation of Kali, as divine love. Her first disciple named her Anandamaya Ma, the joy-permeated mother, because her blissful states would inspire others to remember their innate path to joy. Her first ashram was built in 1929. Her profound spiritual teachings began to attract scholars, philosophers, artists, and other contemporary mystics like Paramahansa Yogananda. She refused to be called a guru, insisting that we are all ultimately one self. Myself and my soul are one. I love that, one self. She loved all living creatures exactly the same, including herself. Anandamaya Ma gave the red thread to women for this reason. There's actually a card in this book called The Red Thread. I love the connection here. She gave the red thread to women for this reason, which was a sacred rite of bestowing spiritual authority previously only given to men. It's a thread that you wear on your left wrist, is what I understand. There's a passage in Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda that relates an encounter he had with Anandamaya Ma. He asked her why she is always so filled with joy and can enter states of bliss instantly. She explains to him that she is aware of her true self. She knows that before she came to earth, she was the same. As a little girl, And later, when she grew into a woman, she was still the same. And now, sitting in front of Yogananda, she remains the same. And even after death, she says, though the dance of creation changes around me, I shall be the same. This is self-realization, merging with that aspect within that never changes. It's becoming conscious of the self that is eternal while within this brief mortal existence. Anandamayi Ma believed that the only true calling or purpose any of us have is to become realized. Another way to read this card is about self-actualization. And if it's in reverse, there's still a transformation that may need to happen for you to continue your path to self-actualization, the things that they're talking about here, which just feels like this total acceptance of who you are, of how beautiful you are. And the only reason I can see your beauty is because I can see my beauty. I see how beautiful I am, and therefore I can see how beautiful you are. And so she believed that any action we take toward that goal is sacred. There's a deep, calm, abiding joy that arrives when we can merge with the aspect of us that never changes. There's a bliss that we get to experience every time we detach from the surface storms that cause chaos in our lives. When we can detach from the surface storms that cause chaos and then takes us into, remember I said this kind of reminded me of like this storm, and then it like calms, something along those lines. If we can remember that we are the guru, that we are an aspect of the divine that remains the same no matter how much change surrounds us, then we get to arrive at a joy that lives at the core of our being. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful message. Beautiful card. I am going to read this union one. And then the red thread is on page 58. The red thread is for those of us who are devoted to returning again and again to the heart, to listen to what the heart knows and then do whatever we can to put that knowing into action. Mary Magdalene anointed Christ before he was crucified. Mary made anointing the most sacred ritual in the Christian tradition. Mary was given secret teachings from Christ because his love for her was extraordinary. Mary's gospel was buried and forgotten for millennia. And then this author says, this is why I wear the red thread. It's hard to remember something you have never been taught, but I do this in memory of her. I do this because the good can never be lost. And this is the same. This lady does both of these. Her name is Megan Watterson, and she does both of these books. So I think it's interesting that out of that big collection of cards, like got 4 or 5 different decks in it. Megan Watterson's card came out of that stack, and my eyes went over to the Mary Magdalene before we started shuffling through that. So I think that's neat. So now we're going to union though. Page 86, it says, in chapter 5 of Mary's Gospel, the disciples are terrified in the wake of Christ's crucifixion. They fear they will be killed as well if they are caught by the Roman Empire. I've always seen this passage as if it were a scene from a film. I can imagine so vividly the dread they must have felt. I can imagine the comments about the threat to their own lives getting louder until the fear becomes palpable in the air. Then Mary stood up, her gospel reads. And I can see this so clearly. I can see her standing up among the sea of disciples, all huddled together on the ground, feeling defeated and afraid. Then Mary stood up and greeted them. She tenderly kissed them all and said, brothers and sisters, do not weep. Do not be distressed, nor be in doubt. For his grace will be with you, sheltering you. It's that Jesus card, right? Mary and Jesus said, I believe they had a particular kind of union. How that union looked definitely know that that's for here or now. Mary stood up for the disciples in a moment of pure terror and became a presence of love among them. In a moment of pure terror, Kalima, facing fear, walking forward. Major spiritual changes are unfolding. This is your chance to soar. Walk sure-footed and know what to do when you find yourself in each place. You already know what to do. Mary stood up in the midst of great fear to be the love that Christ had been among them. This moment from Mary's gospel demonstrates what it means to be in union, and it's evidence of her leadership in the earliest form of Christianity. Mary goes on to say that as a community of brothers and sisters, we should praise his greatness, for he has united us and made us true human beings. Christ lived in a state of union. He was Ahidaiah, which is Aramaic for the unified one. He had unified his egoic self, his full humanity, with his divinity, his eternal soul. He had become fully human and fully divine. So I can't remember how Spirit had me deliver it to you early on in here, but it was around the area where I was speaking about, and if you miss it, it's okay. Like giving yourself grace. That might be a place to go back to in connection with this part and listening to that again, or thinking on that or feeling on that part again for yourself, even if you don't listen to my words again. Anthropos, the child of true humanity. Mary, in this state of union, stood up in the midst of panic to be a presence of love when love was most needed. And this is what Mary reminds us that we can do as well. We can practice living in a state of union by returning again and again to the soul that sits like a treasure here inside our very human hearts. And I just remember like pulling them towards the heart at the beginning, those first 3 cards, pulling them towards the heart, towards the heart, towards the heart. We can practice becoming the presence of love when love is most needed. And the soul voice meditation for this says, how can I stand up like Mary to be a presence of love in this moment? And I am still feeling very called to pull a rune. I have not forgotten that. And I keep looking at this book, the explanation. So I like to listen. Front. So somewhere up on this side. Top. Right here. So this one is said in a few different ways. I call it Rido, but some people call it another way. It means travel. Thor, interesting. Do you remember in the beginning of this when I talked about how when I'm not listening I get even greater signs? Now I said that Spirit had brought someone who had mentioned one name and gotten a tattoo of another. The name that they had mentioned was Thor. And here it is now. The tattoo was of Odin. So the tree that this represents is oak. The animal is goat. The color is bright red. And we had, the bright red from these cards also. The back of these cards are bright red as well. And this is Mary Magdalene on the front wearing red. as well. So bright red, the bird is an eagle. It says the earthly meaning is travel, communication, decisive action. There we go. Taking that decisive action. Okay, we're not paying attention to what these cards are down here. We asked for pictures on these ones only. That sure footing, those sure steps forward. Having clarity on our path. Decisive action, reunion. So we're coming back together. That card was union. I'll just show you what it says here. And then progress. So on the right path, making your way, you're traveling down. The spiritual meaning is inner path and destiny. Okay, so we talked about walking that destined path before. Everything is coming back full circle here. Spirit's putting that cherry right on top, going, you never needed this. It's okay that you got it, but we want to pack this full of signs saying you know the way. And if you need a compass once in a while, just to look down at that compass and go, am I really on the right path? Yeah, you really are. You really are rocking it. So this says Rido means wagon or chariot, and the name of the rune is connected to the English ride and the German Rad, meaning wheel. So this rune is usually linked with the path that a person travels. Unusually, there seems to be no pictogram in the symbol of Rido, which is likely borrowed from the capital R of the Latin alphabet. There it is. In rune poems, the literal meaning of the rune is often extended so that Rido comes to mean journey. Thus, it assures that all forms of travel are advantageous now. But there is more than one type of journey, and Rido can also signify that the querent is ready to embark on a new spiritual path. I'm seeing that transformation card again, that 13. And if you remember Anandamaya Ma, they talked about when she was 13 also, and that stuck out to me. 13 and then 26, I think, was the other number, which is 13 twice. This rune is associated with the goat, which nimbly makes its way up a mountain, though the way is steep and strewn with rocks, and with the eagle, which effortlessly rides the currents and thermals of the sky. Either way, with ease or with difficulty, progress is made. That's reminding me of when I was speaking about, when Spirit had me speaking to you about how when you're looking back at things that you've been through, what have you, like, even if they were rough to go through, there were things that you got off of that. And sure, there were other ways you could have gotten those same lessons, but that might be the difference between being the eagle or the mountain goat. You know, you're able to travel these different terrains with ease, with skill, even if it seems a little scary or iffy. You're built for it. You're built for it. This rune also has a wider sense of movement. If you've been prevaricating, then Rido provides the impetus needed for the next step. Communication is well starred. You may receive good news or be successful in negotiations. Unions or reunions may also be in the offing. It's on page 44. I hope that this is helpful for you in some way. It's always a joy to read for you. It's always a joy to deliver messages for you. I think that you are an amazing human. I'm not going to do any editing to this video. I'm just going to let it be. It's really long. But I want to thank you for being the kind human that you are. And I hope wonderful things for you on your journey. You deserve all of the blessings, all of the joy. And I hope that this helped you gain a little bit of confidence and clarity in whatever this is for you. It was like this, but I feel called to leave it up like this now, because I feel like some clarity is here, and you have the rest of it right here, right here, right here.